Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inclusive Review. My name is Sasha Strebe. I'm the editorial director of Create and Cultivate. We're so excited that you're all joining us today. And I'm thrilled to introduce you to our first guest, the exciting Hunter McGrady. As a model and activist, she has made it her mission to help everyone truly love who they are. But it really is more than just a statement with you, Hunter. It's quite literally, when we look at your career, you're a catalyst for change. And this year marks the 4th year you've been featured on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover. So major congratulations. But you're putting your advocacy into practice now with your inclusive QVC fashion collection, Allworthy. And with this line, you're really helping women to look and feel their absolute best, no matter what size. And so I'm so thrilled to welcome you as a trailblazer and a body positive icon to Inclusively You, to really chat more about your self-love journey, your self-acceptance, and to just get your thoughts on the plus size movement, how far we've come, and what needs to come next. So thank you for joining us and welcome to Inclusively You.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Of course. Now, I really want to start at the beginning because I think there's so much about your career that some people know or may not know. So let's dive into it. It's just so interesting doing the research with you that your dreams of being a model were always there from a really young age. And unfortunately, being bullied in high school for being too tall, too thin, not pretty enough, not skinny enough, I think, never stopped you and, really kind of almost bolstered you to pursue your dreams. So how did you overcome that, to ignore what people said about you or what your dreams were, to just go after them anyway?
So if I'm being honest, when I was 16, I mean, you are a sponge at 16. So yeah. I believed everyone when they were saying that. It took me a lot of therapy and self-love and internal growth and mental health growth to really understand that their words have no bearing on who I am as a person. But at the time, when you're 16, 17 years old and, you want to be accepted, you automatically think what is being said about you is truth. And newsflash is like, I feel like, sometimes those people don't stop at high school. It happens everywhere else in the world and outside in the workplace. And so it's up to us to take that with a grain of salt and just, I'm always very cautious. I try not to let these things get to me because I still get them. I still get people. I mean, listen, I get so many people who message me and who are like, oh my gosh, well, you're too big now and you shouldn't be in Sports Illustrated and XYZ. But you know what? It's taken a lot of mental health work. I think right now, a lot of the times we always talk about physical health, which is definitely important, yes. But mental health, I think, is the most important. Everything else follows when that is intact.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with mental health too, one thing that I've kind of come to learn over the years is that it's a work in progress. It's not something that we kind of figure out overnight. And I think you've always said that too about confidence too. It's like confidence isn't something that you just inherent. It's something that you work on all the time. And there are days where you feel more confident than others. It's just, part of the life experience that we're all going through.
Totally. I always say confidence is not a destination. It is a journey. And, I always liken it to, the saying Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, neither was confidence. And it's a lifelong journey and you are constantly chipping away at it. And I always tell people it's okay to have bad days too. I have days where I don't feel so great about myself and I don't want to get out of bed, and that's okay too. But I just have to remind myself that this is a day and it doesn't define me or who I am or what I bring to the table.
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, if there are always going to be naysayers, then what have you got to lose? Like, just go for it, because there's always going to be someone that's going to tell you no, or that you're not good enough.
Yeah, always.
So, just go for it. But you've certainly proved them wrong, because now you are a very successful plus size model. You're an advocate, that, you have an amazing community of people behind you, and you're a fashion designer, which we'll get into a little bit later. But what is your relationship with the term plus size? I'd love to dig into that a little bit more, because I think that the category is really evolving and has really changed since you first started modeling.
It has. It's funny because when I first started modeling, I was just like anyone else. I didn't see plus size models. I really didn't. I mean, I got into plus size modeling 7, 8 years ago. It was still very, very new. So I always kind of felt, oh gosh, am I still kind of the outcast? Like, and I was, and I still am. I mean, plus size women still need a ton more representation. Like, we've just scratched the surface. So I used to always say, don't define me as plus size. But then as I was going throughout my career, I had so many women reach out to me and say, you know what? I'm really proud of that. And I really own that and love that. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Me too. I mean, that's what got me where I am today. So I wear it as like a badge of honor. And I think that it's just, I'm such an advocate for just, what we're talking about today, inclusivity and representation. It is so important, to see yourself in the magazines and the movies and on clothing sites. I mean, across the board, it is so important to see yourself represented. I'll never forget when I was 16, Oprah Winfrey, she was interviewed, I think, by Kitty Couric, two like icons. And Amazing. They said, and she asked Oprah, she said, what is the common denominator? You've interviewed everybody from sheiks to actors and celebrities to people in third world countries. And she said, the common denominator is that everybody wants to be heard. Yep. And that stuck with me for so long. And that has so become the intention behind everything I do. If I don't feel like I'm doing something where people are being heard and knowing that they're valued, I step away because it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Do you think that there is a possibility for us to move beyond terminology? I mean, you mentioned about kind of really owning plus size, but when we're looking at the categorization of bodies, do you think that there is a future where it isn't a conversation anymore? I know that we were chatting earlier about the curviest model ever framework around your swimsuit illustrated covers. So I'd just love to hear your thoughts and perspective on that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I think that it's important that happens. Again, I had mentioned how something in 2016, People magazine had posted how I was the curviest model ever to appear in Sports Illustrated. However, every tabloid for the last 4 years have picked that tagline up, but dropped the in Sports Illustrated ever. So I became the curviest model ever. And it's just is so funny how we, that is just, they know that that's what's going to bring in the readers, because we are a society who really focus on size, which is so crazy to me. It's so funny. My mom used to always say, talking about weight is so boring. Yeah. It's like, that is the least important thing about somebody. So why are we defining people by their weight or by their height or by their body? Like, you would never hear like, oh, shortest actor, Tom Cruise, right? Like you would never hear that. No. Why do we do it with, plus size models? Because you only really hear it when someone is bigger. And it has nothing to do with our value or our worth.
I mean, it's holding us back, I think, in a way. It's stopping us from actually doing things that we're really great at, because we're so hyper-focused on weight or height or looks or things like that. We should be focusing on, the things that we can do, the dreams that we want to pursue, and all of those kind of great things that can kind of shift culture forward.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes back to, I remember the days when I would crack open like a Cosmo and they would be like, dress for your body type, apple, pear. Like they were likening our bodies to fruit. And I was like, this is so silly. Like, why are we doing this? And why are we putting limitations? For the longest time, people always told me, don't wear stripes, don't wear, XYZ. And I'm like, why? Because
I like stripes.
I know, girl. When I got married, everyone was like, don't wear a strapless tight dress. Like, wear it loose. You don't want your tummy showing. I was like, I'm going to wear a strapless white dress. Like, I love my body. Why would I not want to feel proud about it?
Yeah, no, styles and shapes should be for everybody. It shouldn't be limited to. And I think the same goes for age as well. I think a lot of the time when we look in magazines, they still have 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s and suggestions around age. And I think that's changing and shifting as well. Like there's no way that I want to be told at 40 that I need to dress a certain way. So
my mom is the most stylish person I've ever met in my life. She's 62. She's just so glamorous and amazing.
Oh, I've seen her on your Instagram.
Yeah, she's
one
like
stylish lady. She's amazing. So you've been a longtime leader and advocate in the body positive space, but you know, making space for yourself in the modeling world has, you know, you've come across some challenges there. And you've been very open and transparent about that experience as well. How are you helping others now to embrace their natural body and to consider modeling as a career as well?
My biggest thing is I want to be as authentic as possible, you know, especially on social media and in my career. Again, this goes back to me only taking things that truly are meaningful to me and truly reflect what I want for the world. So, you know, I always try to encourage women to accept things about our bodies that are so natural and so beautiful, like stretch marks or cellulite or acne scars or butt pimples or whatever it is. You know, there's so many things that I think we have been essentially brainwashed to believe are not normal. And I always tell people it's time to embrace it. Listen, it's 2020. It is the time of just seeing clearly, of change, and it's not going to stop now. The days of having to be this very perfect one ideal are over, you know. Absolutely. And we are accepting all body types now. And if you're not, I mean, you better get on the bandwagon because it's not going anywhere. I know I'm not going.
No more excuses.
Yeah. And I always tell people, be loud about it. When people tell you no, when people, you know, I always have girls come to me and say, well, you know, the agencies told me I was too short. I'm like, no, that's not, you go in and you tell them you need me more than I need you, right? Like you are rocking it out. You are going to change the wave because this societal ideal is so cracking and changing. And thank God for that.
I know. Thank you for being one of the people that's led the way for us, though. We really appreciate it. And you're doing it again now with your All-Worthy clothing line for QVC. So I would love to find a little bit more about that today. How did you come up with the name? It's so good. And is this, with this collection, how are you hoping to break the mold?
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of my collection with QVC. I came up with the name. So it originally started, Allworthy started as a hashtag in 2016. It started because right after I shot for Sports Illustrated, I was sitting in my little New York apartment watching TV thinking, gosh, 16-year-old me would have never thought that I would be able to be in a magazine like this. Nonetheless, at my size, I was a size 16. I mean, I'm a size 18 now, but I was a size 16 and I thought I would have never thought I was worthy enough for that. And then my gears started really turning and kind of, you know, I kind of started thinking more and I'm like, well, why is that? When I am the one to preach how we are, you know, all so wonderful, I better start thinking about myself that way as well. And so then I created All Worthy because we are all worthy of success and of feeling beautiful and wonderful in our skin and of having wonderful things happening to us. And so I created this hashtag because I know that social media is, you know, it's where we're spending a lot of our time. And I really wanted to create a community of women, and there's some men on there who are, you know, accepting their bodies as well. And, you know, it's just a place of encouragement and inclusivity. And that's what I wanted. I wanted women to kind of create this community, and they did. So, you know, this hashtag kind of then carried with me the last 4 years. And when I was, you know, chatting with QVC, I thought, well, this is really the intention that I want behind my clothing line. I want women to know that they are worthy of being empowered boss babes. So, you know, that is really what I put into it. And then, you know, you know, when I first met with QVC, they had mentioned, giving me I was one of the first, I think, if not the first, to have up to a 5X size 36, which is what I've always wanted. I mean, I had other people reach out to me and I was like, nope, nope. If you can't truly be inclusive, if you can't really put your money where your mouth is, I can't get on board with that. But QVC has always been inclusive, and I've so appreciated that about them. And the fact that they then said, we will give you up to a 5X, I was like in tears. It was just so beautiful to see that people like QVC are making the changes and other people will follow.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it for 30 years. They've been from the beginning. So I think it's like the perfect alignment for you and QVC. I think the brand ethics and your moral code just really align.
Totally.
It's such a perfect synergy. And I love how hands-on you are as well. I think there's some other celebrity endorsed brands that may not necessarily be as hands-on with the celebrity themselves, but you are there from execution, from design to fabric to fits, which, at QVC, fits is super important, and everyone should watch the fit class today to learn a little bit more about that. But why did you want to be so involved at every stage of the process? And has that transparency also led to the success of the brand and, why people are really gravitating towards it?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be involved because I think that, again, I always liken everything to being as authentic as possible. I am not the kind of person to just, slap my name on something and be like, okay, let's just put it out there and hope it works and hope it fits the plus body and the Missy body. Like, let's just hope for it. That is not the kind of person that I am. I want every detail to be looked at, like, especially during like quarantine. Like, I have every sample, every fabric swatch, I'm in every fitting meeting, even like I want to be there. I'll even throw some things on myself and we'll compare the fitting. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to be passionate about these things. It's such a blessing to even have a brand, and I enjoy the process, and I always put my intention behind it. I'm such a creature of habit. So I do my affirmations every single day, and I set my intentions, and I do the same with the clothing line.
Yeah, no, that's really great. And I think it really comes through, there's that authenticity to the brand. You wear the product, you look great in the product. I mean, that leather jumpsuit is insane. Like, that's a sellout for sure. It's the coolest thing ever. It looks amazing. I can't wait till it's cold enough in LA to wear it.
Right.
So we don't have much time left, but I would love for you to just give a little bit of advice to some people listening in today who may be struggling with their own natural body or experiencing the same bullying you did. Like, what sort of advice would you give them?
I always tell people the one thing that has changed my life, and like I just mentioned, is words of affirmation. I was told this at 16 years old. I had a therapist tell me when I was really struggling with my body. I was a size 2, 6 feet tall, it was not looking good for me. And she said, I want you to do this experiment. She said, I want you to take a shower. When you get out, I want you to slick your hair back, have no makeup on, and I want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself 10 things about yourself that you want to love about yourself. And then she said, do this every single day, because those things will then become things that you do love about yourself. And the first time I did it, the second time I did it, the third time, I was in tears because I had never truly spoken to myself in that kind of manner. I really realized how awful I was being to myself, in turn then made me not love my body as it is. I was looking at my body for what it was looking like in comparison to the societal ideals, as opposed to what it was doing for me. This heart that was beating, that was getting me out of bed every day and breathing, and, legs that were moving me and able to fly around the world. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for. And so, that's something I still do every single day. 15 years later, I am such a huge proponent of words of affirmation and really looking at yourself in the mirror, in your eyes. You may feel silly, but
it's so powerful.
It's so powerful. Our mind is so powerful, and we really have to utilize it. And it makes such a positive effect.
Yeah. Is there a positive mantra that you have on repeat that you could share with us?
Well,
I probably have a few, but
I am worthy is my number one. And that's kind of where I went back to all worthy is, I think worthiness is something that we kind of, we kind of put so much of what other people say to us into our worth and our value.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it gets kind of messy, and we kind of go down a darker road, is when we allow other things besides or other people besides ourselves dictate our worth.
Yeah.
And so that is my number one thing, is I am worthy no matter what. Like if it's, going into Starbucks and getting cut in front of the line, and, just like something as simple as that, of just saying, you know what, that's not right. And speaking up for yourself and saying, no, I'm worthy of respect just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I could talk to you all day about this.
I
think we all have some homework to do now. I'm going to stand in front of the mirror and say that to myself. There'll be some tears.
Yes.
But it's so inspiring to speak with you today. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know everyone who's listening today has really taken a lot of this away as well for themselves. So thank you so much. And congratulations on the QVC one.
Thank you so much. All right, Level. So fabulous talking to you guys. Bye, guys.